Okay, good morning, guys. We are going to do. I'm not sure you are able to hear me or not. Today, what we are going to have is functions. Okay, so let's do it. I've already shared, so I'm just going to that. The notebook is there, so we'll just do it. Now, to start a function, we have a keyword define, def. Okay, so I can give anything like def example. Let's have blank parameters. There are no parameters. When I don't give anything in the round bracket, that means there are no parameters. Anything given inside the bracket is called a parameter. Okay, so there are no parameters here. I'm just using a simple example and print welcome to functions. Let me write it. Okay, so now let's run it. Simple. What I have done is I have defined a function example end with a colon, and then I'm just printing welcome to functions, and then just run it. Welcome to functions. Okay, so this is what we have now. You can simply, this is calling. Let me put a comment here. Call the function. Okay, so you can call the function directly just by giving the name, and def is to define a function, then just print. Very simple. Okay, let's have some functions with some parameters or some string and see if I can use it with a parameter. Okay. So define a function, and I'll have str, and I'll print str. Okay, now let's call function fn something. We will call using different parameters, different parameters in different functions, but different lines we have. Calling the function again with different parameters, you can say like that. Or AIML, and we can run it now. So 3 times I've called, one with Python, then class, and then AIML, and the function is same. So let's run it. Okay, so you can the advantage with a function is you can call it n number of times, and you can pass on the parameters, and it will do the work you want it to do for you. Okay, we can have some functions like sum a comma b, and I can find the sum is equal to a plus b, and I can simply print this. Okay, it's very simple example. And what I can do is I can ask the user to input, or I can simply s, let's say 4 comma 8. Oops, where has it gone? 4 comma 9, whatever. It is sum, sorry. Yes, sum 4 9. So it will find the sum and print it. Right? Or you can ask the user to input, and same, just use it. A is equal to input, enter a number. B is also input, enter second number. then sum a comma b. So now I am calling the function and I have two inputs and I have run it. Enter a number, let's say 44, 33, then 21, 3, 2, 1. Now this has gone as a string, right? So what I have to do is input always takes the string input. The input is always string in Python, as in the case of Java also. So we have to pass. What here we have to do is we have to put int here. Sorry, it is concatenating the string, the above one, and this will be adding, just converting it into string. Okay, now sum I have called. Now I can run it. 1, 44, 65. Now we have found the sum. Otherwise, it was just adding up the two numbers, concatenating the two numbers, as it was treating it as a string in this case. Okay, so I'll just write here also. Takes input as a string. Now this one is convert string into integer. Okay, so this is what we are doing. Converting. Since functions are used every time, so I have no choice actually but to tell you the functions first, and then we can go ahead with the theoretical part also. So let's see what can we do, and with this, if I don't want to print it here, I can return. Return what? Return yes. The best part with Python is you can return more than one value, but we are returning only one value here. So I just write here return. Okay. So how return works? Define function s is equal to a plus b. Use the keyword return. This will return the variable to the calling function, you can say, or calling method. Method I can say from where it has been called. So sum a plus b, I'll store it. Let's say next. Now I print. I can actually call this directly print, or I can return and I can use it further. Now I have to tell you a few things here, but before that let me check if my code is working fine. It is working fine. Okay. Now what we have to see here is we have a concept of a global variable and a local variable in all the languages. It's not only Python, it is in all the languages. We have we have local variables and global variables. So in this case, what we have here is this s is local to this function, and this is open. This is a global function, global variable. These two. So local will be limited to a function, and global will be open for all. It is as simple as that. And if you want to check the address, you can use ID and check the address. It will be different for both the variables, although the name is same. We are using sum function and s as the variable to store the sum of the two numbers, two variables, or even the name is same. They both will be having different address, memory address, as one is local, one is global. Okay, so you can check it and see. So we have the function, we have the function ID to check it. So I can have run it, so we can see that. Now suppose I give only one parameter while passing. Hit it here. If we pass only one parameter, what happens if we pass only one parameter? So we have to, but what I'm doing is I'm just passing it. We have two inputs, but I'm not passing both the inputs. What I'm doing is I'm just passing one. So what happens? Let's see. This goes fine, but this will give an error. Why? Missing one required positional argument B. You can see that it is telling that B is missing. So you have to pass B also. So you cannot do something like this, that you have two uh, parameters and you pass only one. So that is not possible. It will always throw an error. So I'm leaving this error as it is so that you will remember. You can pass a number of arguments also, and for that we have star arg or star or whatever. So you can pass n number of arguments. You can pass n number of arguments. Okay, and for that define variable. You can, oh sorry, you can use any name of the function. Let's say my star erg arg. There's no space there. Now print arg. Let's say one. Four. I'm passing 4. Okay, I can use a variable. Okay, and I'm saying that is the eldest. And just for the sake of example. Okay, now I have to pass 4 arguments. Since I've given 4, I can pass more than that, 5, 6, whatever. But let's see. My and quotes Rahul, then Preeti, then Kritika, then me, and so on. Now, if I pass on the variables, 4 variables, out of that only one we are finding. So we are calling this with 4 names. My args, star arg. I'm calling that function with 4 names. And what I'm printing is the 4th name is the eldest. Let's run it. There are how many? Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter with this. Something is missing. I missed something. 1 minute. Let me see.
The bracket.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is what I'm checking. Oh yeah, yeah. I closed it here. Sorry. Right. I did. I closed it. Actually, automatically print closes. Anyway, thank you. Let's run it again. Again, it is giving me something. Tuple out of index out of range. Yeah. There one is 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm giving 4. Okay. So what I have to do is I have to give 5 names to get the 4th one. Okay. We'll put another name. Now I'll run it. Okay, Vivek is the eldest. So the indexing, as you can see, in this case also starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is actually, I'm getting a fixed one. I can use a loop also. I can get that also. Or I can have different variables, and then I can print it. Okay. I can have something like, I have a function already, so I'll just copy. I can have something like this also. What I'm doing is I'm passing I have defined a function my with child 1, child 2, child 3, 4, and 5. And child 1 is the eldest. The eldest. Now, child 1, Rajiv, child 2, and here when I'm calling my function, I'm telling what child 1 has, child 2 has, 3 and 4 and 5 has. Okay, I'm just running it now, and you can see that the first one, Rajiv, is the eldest. So you can either call it like this, star, or you can have the variable names, and then you can pass on the data accordingly. So you can do this also. And if you don't know the number of arguments, unknown number of arguments are there, suppose this is the known. Okay, I have 5. I know, but in this case, when we don't have, we can use double star. I'll show you. Just have defined function star star nn. Suppose you can give any name you want. It'll print last name of the child is L. Okay, this is just defining the function. Now, how it is called? This function f name is equal to Varun, and L name is equal to Goel. Okay, now let's run it. So you can see the last name of the child is Goel. So you are not giving actually any number of arguments here. You're just putting 2 stars and you're printing nn with L name, which is passed from here. So in the function, you can define your function like this also. And we can have some more examples and see what we can do. I have an example already, so I'll just pass on and just paste it. I'll explain it also. Again, keyword start kw for key value in keyword dot items. What I'm doing is I'm taking the key and the value from kw dot items. This is how you can call. This one I have directly called, but this is how you can call kw dot item. That means it is going to return the key and the value. Okay, and we are printing now key first, mid, and the last. Arvind Kumar and Shiva. So it has a first name, mid name, and the last name. When I print key and the value, let's see what comes. See, it gives you first, that is the key, and the value is Arvind. Okay, here we called it directly, but this is what it returns. So if you have the variable name, so name of the variable will be your key, and the data inside that is your item, sorry, value. So when I call a function, or rather define a function with 2 stars, so it can take a number of arguments, but to understand, to get the data from it, I can use a loop. That is what I was saying. I can use the loop, get the key and the value using the variable name dot items. Okay, in this case our variable is kw. The parameter we passed is kw, or the parameter we have defined actually is kw. So the kw plus kw dot items will fetch the key and the value. That means in this case key is your variable name and value is the data stored in the variable, right? So define my star kw star kw for key values in kw dot items. You print percentage equal to percent separator you need, and key and the value, and you will get the output. While calling, you can give first, mid, and last name. So you can define like this also. So you can use key dot items, variable dot items to fetch the key and the value. Now we have some default parameters also. Default parameter is actually when you give a parameter with the function. Okay, so what I do is define my and as a country equal to India. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm using a variable. Oh, sorry, I have to give double quotes. Oh, sorry, this have to go. Colon I have to give. So country. So here what I have given is a variable equal to India. I just have to print I belong to country. I can simply call it. Mm. Okay, so you can have something like this, and when I run it, it will say I belong to India. Simple. So you can give the parameter with the value also. Let's have another one, and this I have actually this is an empty parameter, and I can use the same. This is blank, but if I change to something else, what happens? Come to UK. My Singapore. My India is already there. USA. Let's run it. So first is default India. Then it is replaced. This is replaced. So it will not stick to India. This is something very interesting. You can see that although country is equal to India, but if I pass on a parameter now with the function, the default parameter will be replaced. So I have to write it here. Okay. Here I can write default parameter will be replaced. Okay, so if we have something like this, although there is a default parameter, but it will be replaced if I pass on a value. Just coming. So we have this, and let's have suppose I pass on a list to a function. I'll pass list to a function. Okay, so I'm using def my only, and I'll use food. I'm a foodie, so I'll call. Then I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Suppose food has, okay, it has rice, then it has curd, then it has pulses, then it has mm, this oops. Then let's have bread also. Okay, let's close. Now suppose this is what I'm passing. Okay, and I'm calling my food. It's giving me some error, but that's okay. It is because of this. For um, I have to get the item in food. Okay, print item. So I can print it like this because I have only passed on item. I'm not there's no key or value here. I just passed on the data, so it is now item. So for item in food, that is number of items, whatever number of items could be in the loop in the list, they will be printed one by one like this. There may be some disturbance today. There's some repairing going on, so bear with me. So define my food for item in food, print item. What I have passed is rice, curd, pulses, and bread. My food, and you can see that it is coming like this. So you can define your function something like this also, where you can pass on the parameter, the values, the items, and then you can simply print them. Okay, you can return also. Uh, let's return values. Let's have something like this. I already have. I just want to save some time. Now return values define this is multiplication function. I'm calling with n, return 4 into n. So whatever I'm calling will be multiplied by 4 and returned. Simple. This we have all done something like that. 24, 6, 4, 24, 360, 480 and 1296. So whatever the number I am passing is multiplied by 4. So that is very simple. Then we have recursion also, and this is something which is there in C++, Java, everywhere you will find this. Recursion is calling a function itself, and it is like defined recursion. Okay, recursive is called one function call itself. It calls itself. Okay. Now in let's say print recursive function output, and we are printing rec6. That is what we are calling rec6. In rec6 is passed to this, and we are printing let's say 6 n equal to /t tab. If n is greater than 0, r is equal to mr plus rec n minus 1. Print r, else r is equal to 0. Return r. Okay, let me run it and show you. You may get confused. Something there. Recursive function output 654322101, and this is what you're getting from the inside. That is you're printing first 3 6 sorry 6 6 10 15 21 21, and that is the end of it. Now what happens here? Let's see. When I use n plus the first value, let me not print this one. Okay, let me just show you. Uh, I will see output only. This is the output. Total output is 21, but how you reach to 21, that we have to see. Okay, so let me remove this. So first n, and what we get. Okay, so this is the last output, and I have not used actually. I'll put inside. Okay, now run. You can see inside 6. First you get is 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, and then 0. 6 5 4 3 2 1. That is the reverse. 6 into 5, it is adding up. Actually, it is not multiplying. You can multiply and get the factorial out of it if you want, but then inside last is 0. You'll get everything as 0. Okay, because r is equal to 0 also. We are returning 0 in the last. So now what happens here is in, that is the first value, that is 6, which is passed to this. Now it checks if n is greater than 0. Yes, it is greater than 0. Then r is equal to n plus r recursion n minus 1. 6 plus rec n minus 1. It goes back to this rec n with value 5. Now value of n is 5, goes back, comes in inside. Now it is 6 plus 5, 11, and it goes on. So this is where we are going to print the intermediate results. Let's run it. See, first is 1, then 3, 6, 10, 15, and 21. So first you get 1, 3. That this is where r is. Okay. The value of yeah, 1 3 6 10 1 3. This is 21 is the last. 16 is okay. It is adding up. N is actually not having any value initially. So what you get is value 6 1 plus 3 plus 6. Let me print the value of n also. You will be clear, otherwise you will get confused. Okay, here also. Let me try. Use percentage, otherwise. I can use percentage, percent D also. It can be like this also. So n value 1. Oh. This is n, this is r. Let me run it again. Now, n is 1, r is 1, n is 2, r is 3, n is 3, r is 6, n is 4, r is 10, then n is 5, 15, then 10 plus 5, 15, then n is equal to 6, r is 21. So this is what happens. So default values it is going to take. Recursion we are calling here inside n is initially nothing. It by default it will take it as 1. So it is 1 plus so on. It will go on. Keep on adding. N minus 1 with n minus 1 it is passing on. Okay. So it will just keep on passing. Initially we have nothing there. So this is what happens when we call a recursion, and the values will be displayed like this, and the add value is here. I have just stopped it in between, did not want to show. Otherwise you can show it like this also, but then everything will come like this. 6 5 4 3 2 1 1 goes, n is equal to 1, r is equal to 1. Okay, it goes to 1 greater than 0, r is equal to 0, goes on. You can print in between and see what happens. Recursion means calling the function itself again. Then we have something called main function, which is actually mostly used. I'll just put it here. This is the most commonly used function, and we have to. It actually every program actually in most in the languages, main languages, they are looking for main function. Python actually can start from any function, but we have main also. So by default, it will be taking the main first, and then after that, it will be looking for other functions. But if we define main, something like this, welcome to my code. And if I say name is equal to main, we call main. If name is equal to main, that is main is there in the code you have written. If main function is there in the code, then call main function. So this is how you do the standard syntax. You can't do much about it, but you have to define main. So main is the entry point of any program in any language. By default, but in Python you can avoid main. You can start with any function name. But in most of the languages, like you have C, C++, then Java, you have main function from where you start. Okay, so in Python you can give anything. You can go directly also. You can go online something like this, or you can have a function like this. So if main is defined, so it will be called first and then the rest. But we have something like global, that is something before main. You can always have before main, define main, print welcome to my code. If I run, so before main, so unless we call, it is not, it doesn't go there. Okay, now let's see if I have something. File name, just have something like this. There is no main, this is just printing. If name is equal to main, print file is being run directly, or else print file one is being imported. Okay, this is just having calling it, nothing else. There's no main function here. It says that file name is equal to main. Person name, if name is equal to main. It has nothing to do with the coding part. But we can see something like this and show you a demo of main, something like this. Suppose you have two functions. One is demo and one is main. Demo has G print before the split and uses we are putting some passing some string in that, and then defining main. G is equal to, we are checking main function, print G, new G is equal to demo G. That is where you're calling, then print a new G. Now suppose you are calling this function main. So first main will be called, G will be equal to, we are checking main function, G will be printed, then new G, that means this is called and stored in new G, and then we are printing it. So main function called, we are checking the main function. We are checking the main function before the split. After the split, we are checking the main function. Okay, we have seen the split function. This is the split. Okay, so what the example actually is telling you that if we have two functions and we call the main function, then main will be called first. If there is a main function, then main is called first, and from the main you can call any other function. So normally when we program, we normally try to have a sandbox type of a thing. That means we don't call the functions directly. We will define main, and from main we can call the other functions, so that a user won't have access to the main functions directly. Otherwise, any user can call any function and can work on it. In this case, if it is sandboxes, if it is put in a function, then it will be responsible for calling it. You won't be calling it directly, although you can call here directly also. But I'll see if we can manage that. And yeah, but normally we want to, even in Java we would like to put it thing like this. Java is a pure object oriented, so you don't have much options. You have to start with a class name. You don't have options there. Now if I place main above a demo, it won't make much difference. The result will still be the same. So the placement won't matter of the main, because we are checking for main and calling it. So wherever it is, it doesn't matter. It will be the first function to be called. Okay. we have, I have added more, demo 1, demo 2, and then calling them one by one. Let's see. Demo 1, demo 2, main, G is equal to demo 2, print G, new G is equal to demo 1 G, creating an object and then printing it like this. Okay, so main, calling the main function only. So before the second function, we are checking the main function. After checking the main function and all, so it's not necessary. It is the sequence which matters. How you are calling. It's not necessary. The numbers don't matter. The names don't matter. It is actually how you are calling. If I'm calling demo 2 first, it will be called first. If I'm calling demo 1 first, it will be demo 1 first. So it depends on me what exactly I want to call. But what we have to keep in mind is that we should be calling them sequentially, but we have to keep in mind that overlapping or missing out things should not be there. There should be some link. Okay, sequence. Let me.
Sir,
Yeah, yeah.
in sequence, main can be anywhere, no, sir? At the last or
Main,
at the
yeah. Anyway, in between also.
okay, sir. So can the user, I mean, if we give the main at the last or beginning at the end,
Mhm.
can the user uh, able to call the other functions, sir? If we mention
You want to mean you want this to be replaced, right?
yes,
Let
sir.
me cut it and let me put it in between. Okay,
Okay, sir.
fine. This is
Yes,
what
sir.
you want, na?
Yes, sir.
Something like this. It
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
matter. It won't matter at all.
Okay.
See, still the same output because actually what you're calling here, you're calling the main function. So the control goes here. Okay, so the control goes here. From here, everything is being controlled. So whether it is above it or below it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Clear?
sir. Understood.
Yeah. I just saved it. I'm sharing this sheet with you, notebook. Just have a look, and I have a few more things to cover. I'll finish it. I would like to finish it fast so that we can do a lot of things. Lot of things to be done, which are more meaningful. We have to apply them also. Just sharing it here in the chat box. You can have a look. I'm coming in 2 minutes. Two,
Sure, sir.
Okay, I did not stop the recording. That's okay. So what is left? Let me see.
Uh, Sir, this
Yeah,
is what if you don't call the main function, sir?
1 minute.
What happens?
What did you say? You don't want main?
If what if you
Doesn't
don't call
matter.
the main?
You
Okay,
don't call the main, then you call the functions directly, one by one.
okay,
You can do that, and you can call main like this and see whether main is there or not. Something like this. You can print value of main rep r name. Rep r is the function to get the name of the main function. So you want to get the name of the main function, you can use this, but main is always main only. You know that.
okay, sir.
You can have the time function also, how much time it takes. So from time you can import sleep. This is a demo of sleep. Process data, you're printing, then sleep 3 seconds. You're printing, So if you want to actually pause, you can pause. You can see that. Okay, so you have a command called sleep. So you can pause your function or your process in between for number of seconds you want. So here it is for 3 seconds. You can see that. If you run, you can see that. So testing sleep function, change data. That is what you're displaying. You can display anything you want. Then we can have something like process. There's a command called process. So I have to import it actually. There's a module called process, my process. You can import that. If I have created it, the first thing is I don't have my process. I have to create my process. Yeah, there's nothing like my process. I'll have to create it. I have to save something with this name, my process, and then I can call it. So I cannot do it here. I'll have to create this. What I can do is I can actually save something like this. I'll have to save, or I'll have to call some function which is there. So I can import the process or the function I've created, and then I can do that. But I do not have anything as such. I'll show this later on. I'll have to create. I'll have to create. Without creating, I don't think I can use it. I won't be able to use. I'll have to call. You can have a nested also. We have namespace and scope function. So you can have a nested function also. And I'll just put a theoretical part for that first. This my process will work only when I'll save something with that name. I'll create it later. It will take a little time. Oh, sorry. I'll create it and put it, but I'm just keeping it there. So even if you run it, it will give you an error. If I try to run this now, this my process, because my process does not exist, it will give me an error. So I'll just create it and see, because I'll have to create a process function there and save it as my process, not Python. Yeah. So I'll have to create it and store it somewhere here, and then we can do it. I'll do it. I'll show you. So namescape scope, I'll give you a demo, then we can explain what it is. I'll just give a function. We have a local and a global thing here. That's what we have to see. Let me run it first. Yeah. Now, what we have here is a nested function, testing scope. Okay, and text is testing scope. That is the entry point. Then we have a local. Then we have a non-local, and then we have a global. Now you see that in a local we have given text is equal my local text. In a my non-local, what we have put a keyword is a non-local and then the text, and text is equal to my non-local text. In a global, we have defined the text as global and then we are printing it. Now, when I call my local, what happens? My local text is text. Okay, what we get is my local text is equal to testing scope. Testing scope. Okay, then when I call my non-local, so what happens after my non-local text is equal to my non-local text. My non-local text. And when I call global, then it is my non-local text again. You can see that what I'm printing is my global. After my global text is equal to, again the text is same. My global, my non-local text. That was already stored, and now testing scope, that is in between. Okay, this is in testing scope. All the functions are between in testing scope. Now when I call testing scope, and after that after calling testing scope, text is going to text, what is what we the output we get is a global text. When you come out of it, the last thing which was executed was this, so you have now the global text. So you scope is like if the innermost scope, which is search first, contains the local names, then the scope of any enclosing functions, then the next to last scope, and the outermost scope is the namespace containing built-in names. So this is how scope is defined, but not much of use, just for the sake of your knowledge, that this is also the way you can define your functions. Nested function you can define, and in between in that, how the local and the global would be working. Okay, so theoretical part I have written here. You can see that, and you can see that how they are being called, right? So you can see that I have already saved it and shared the link with you, and we have run out of time. I'll explain this part, little bit of this and this one in my next class, process and process 2. I'll have to create and show you just a small bit, just to uh, iron out any doubts left, because this may create confusion, because who the non-programmers normally don't understand the difference between local and global variables. I'll explain that. It is important how we use our variables as local and and global. So I'll explain it in my next session. In the next session, we have to do the classes. Before that, I'll just finish it, and then we'll take the classes. We'll have more time there to us, so I can take more and explain more and try to be as slow as possible. Okay, so I'll put it and then explain it. Right, I've already shared, so I'll just update this file so that you guys can have a look. Okay, guys, let's meet on Friday and we'll continue from there. Okay, bye. Take
Okay,
care.
thank you. Thank you, sir.
Bye. Bye.